YouTube, how we doing, family? It's your boy, Yo, and this is another episode of Yo Hoops. I go through every NBA game every day. Today's Thursday, January 22nd. We have an 8-game NBA card. I'm going to walk you through my thoughts and let you know what sides I like, so please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your favorite game in the comment section below. Without further ado, let me get into today's recap. Recapping yesterday, the streak continues. I dropped my highlighted play of the day. I took Michael Porter Jr. of the Brooklyn Nets to go over 23.5 points. I figured the only way the Nets would compete is if MPJ was scoring buckets. Neither were true, and the Nets ended up getting blown out by 54 points. All of a sudden, the Knicks can't miss a three, and MPJ is shooting 4 for 14 from the field. He ended the game with 12 points. Final score was 120 to 66 Knicks. Can't say I'm surprised at all. Ever since the new year, my highlighted play has really been that one to avoid. Love my play today, but at this point, you're more than justified in fading me. Without further ado, let me get into today's games. In our first matchup, we have the Charlotte Hornets in Orlando taking on Orlando Magic. Magic are minus 210 on the money line, and the total is 224. The Hornets come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, flying from Charlotte to Orlando. They got beat up by the Cavs last night, but a lot of their starters played less than 30 minutes, so I don't expect rest to play too much of a factor. The last time we saw these two teams face each other was on December 26th in Orlando, and the Hornets won that game 120 to 105. Obviously an impressive win from Charlotte, but what stands out to me is the low scoring total. That's exactly what I expect in Orlando, and considering we're set at 224 tonight, we should see another low scoring affair. I lean to the under, but this line is pretty efficient, so rather than taking a side or the total, I'm looking at a prop. I'm taking Musa Diabate to go over 8.5 rebounds. He's averaging 8.3 in just 24 minutes. Against a taller team like the Magic, the Hornets are going to need him cleaning the glass. In the last matchup against Orlando, he grabbed 12. I think we're getting some value tonight. I'm going to lock it in as my highlighted selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Denver Nuggets in Washington taking on the Washington Wizards. Nuggets are minus 230 on the money line, and the total is 238. The Nuggets injury report is pretty lengthy coming into this one, but I'm seeing everyone listed as probable besides Jokic and Braun. The Wizards are banged up themselves, and let's be real, they would have covered this spread in one of their last 8 games. With Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and Peyton Watson on the floor, they should easily be able to get a 6-point win against one of the bottom 3 teams in the league. I'm taking the Nuggets laying the 5.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Houston Rockets in Philadelphia taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Rockets are minus 140 on the money line, and the total is 221.5. This is going to be a fun game to watch, but more one I'll be enjoying as a fan. Both teams come into it at relative full strength. Paul George is listed as questionable, but that doesn't move the needle for me either way. The Rockets have been playing through injury all season, but the few times we've seen them at full strength, they dominate. They're now 4-1 in their last 5 games. I do like them more in Houston, but considering we're laying less than a bucket, I do see them winning this one outright. Philly has been dominant against the spread this season, but that's almost exclusively been on the road. In Philly, they're just 10-13 against the spread. I'm taking the Rockets laying the 2 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Golden State Warriors in Dallas taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Warriors are minus 225 on the money line, and the total is 234.5. When I first saw this line, I was positive Steph is ruled out, but the Dubs actually come into it at full strength. Dallas is still without Daniel Gafford, so at this point, their only center is Dwight Powell. I won't be surprised at all when the Mavericks win this game, but there's no logical way I can see them doing so. You're telling me Cooper Flag and PJ Washington are going to outplay Steph and Draymond? I don't give a damn that this game is in Dallas. I'm taking the Warriors laying the 5.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Chicago Bulls in Minnesota taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Wolves are minus 350 on the money line, and the total is 238. Some positive injury news is breaking the Bulls' way. Josh Giddey has now been upgraded to probable. The Wolves stay underperforming at home, so I was just going to grab the points with the Bulls and call it a day, but when I look back at their previous meetings, Minnesota actually matches up really well. The last game was on December 29th in Chicago, and the Wolves won that one 136 to 101, a 35-point blowout. Josh Giddey played in that game, and it only took 23 points from Anthony Edwards. Like I said, I'm not in love with laying extended numbers in Minnesota, but tonight, I think it has to be done. I'm taking the Wolves laying the 8.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the San Antonio Spurs in Utah taking on Utah Jazz. Spurs are minus 650 on the money line, and the total is 237. This game's tough for me because I typically like grabbing the points with the Jazz in Salt Lake City. They're 15-7 ATS, but they come into this one with their top three scorers on the IR. Lauri Markkanen is ruled out, then Keontae George and Bryce Sensabaugh are both listed as questionable. Considering the Spurs have all of their main guys in, including Wemby, they should win this one by margin. More of a lean, but I'll lean to the Spurs laying the 13 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Los Angeles Lakers in LA taking on the LA Clippers. This game's a pick'em. You can find minus 110 on either side, and the total is 222. Another game where I'll be watching more as a fan. I don't necessarily see an edge on either side. The two things that stand out to me are one, Luka's points prop is set at 31.5, and two, the total is set at 222. Luka's averaging 33.5 on the season, and the books don't typically give discounts for no reason. The only way I see the Lakers winning this game is through offense, but that also doesn't favor a 222 total. I think these lines suggest that we see a defensive style game that favors LA. I'm taking the Clippers on the money line as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Miami Heat in Portland taking on Portland Trailblazers. Blazers are minus 120 on the money line, and the total is 237. Looking through the injury reports for both sides, I don't see enough offense on the floor to get us over a 237 total. The Heat average 119.5 points per game, while the Blazers average 116.3. That would set us around a 236 expected total, considering Norman Powell is listed as questionable, and it's Danny Advia's first game back. We should see enough cold offensive stretches to keep us under this total. I'm taking the Heat and Blazers under 237 as my last and final selection. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'm now 3-16 on all highlighted plays in January, really becoming a fade god. I mentioned it during last year's NBA season. I'm genuinely one of the streakiest analysts out there. We've had 15-game win streaks and 15-game losing streaks. Obviously, no fun when I'm losing games, but for you guys as viewers, I feel like it gives you a ton of opportunity. If you can catch 10 games in a row, you're going to be in really good shape. I appreciate the support so much. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, Yo! And until the next one, I'm going to catch y'all. Peace.